Hello everyone, welcome back. I was gonna wear some kind of cheetah top or headband for the occasion, but I don't have any. So instead I wore these really cute cheetah shorts. I went down a bit of a rabbit hole last month watching all of my favorite Disney movies. I'm talking the High School Musical trilogy, Minutemen, Sky High. But the one that touched me in a way that the others just can't is the Cheetah Girls franchise. It's just peak cinematic and music excellence. Well, Cheetah Girls 1 and 2. We're not gonna talk about whatever this was. So obviously I go to look up all the girls like any movie watcher does, and I came across info I haven't seen in years on all the drama and beef between them that eventually led to them disbanding. And I just knew I had to do a video on this. Girl groups are my bread and butter, which is why Flo and Cat's Eye are currently keeping me very sane at the moment. So thank you, ladies. So we will be discussing all things Cheetah Girls, the movies, the music, the drama.
Come on, I'm not the only one.
What are you saying?
You gotta talk to Adrian, dude.
Why do I have to talk to Adrian?
Okay, so the Cheetah Girls. The beginning of all of this actually starts in the 90s. Disney was the channel for all things tween original movies that they called DCOMs. And by the 2000s, they wanted to come up with something that would change up the culture. In 2002, they decided to do a project called the Cheetah Girls, which was going to be a movie about a girl group. And it was actually based on the Cheetah Girls books by Deborah Gregory that started in the late 90s and went into the new millennium. I always hear that the concept of the year 2000 was just this crazy spectacle because everyone thought the world was gonna crumble since laptops couldn't compute a new year and all of the dates would reset to zero. But at least the public had new Cheetah Girls books to look forward to. These books were the foundation for the movie, so it only makes sense that they were based on excellence. And yes, I'm referring to the fact that the books were based on the multi-platinum selling best girl group of all time, Destiny's Child. I think they're an interesting case because they pick and choose which of Beyonce's performances that they want to get together again on stage, and each time it happens, we're equally as gagged.
Oh my God!
That's just generational talent. The books were all about a girl group trying to achieve their dreams, and Disney saw this and said, say less, let's make a movie. This was the first musical movie that Disney was doing at the time, so they needed the top dogs here for music, production, choreo. They were doing their big one here. So they got Deborah Martin Chase, who produced Brandy's Cinderella and The Princess Diaries. Nothing but greatness. She had a resume. But Disney knew they meant business because they got the icon, Whitney Houston, to produce the movie. So it was already going to be a hit before it came out with her at the handle. So they all quickly got to work on getting the girls for the group, and the first lineup was Adrienne Bailon for Chanel, Sabrina Bryan for Dorinda, Raven Simone as Galleria, and a pre-icon Solange Knowles, who was also the little sister of Beyonce, as Aqua. You see how it all comes full circle? When Adrienne first auditioned, it was a complete disaster because she has never been an actress up to this point, so the entire audition was a mess.
So they gave me these sides, which is what they call the script that you go in and you read. And I go into the audition and I had to do an emotional scene, and it was something like this. Girl, you have a great heart, and you are who you are because of what's in your heart. Hugs her and pulls her close. I read the directions! And I love Deborah Martin Chase, shout out to you, the executive producer of that movie. She brought me outside and she was like, can I talk to you? I had to sing for it too, so I had already sang my part. Took me outside and she was like, girl, you don't read the directions.
Solange, on the other hand, was already really good with Disney. She did the theme song for the Proud Family with Destiny's Child, and they knew they wanted her for this. But Raven would be the glue when it came to this entire movie really coming together. Key info about Raven: child star since age 3, had a music career before age 7. I never said it was good. I just said she had a career. And she was a Disney darling by her teenage years on the Xenon franchise and just booked her first gig, That's So Raven. So she could sing, rap, dance, and act. Who else were they gonna put in the group? Solange ended up backing out because her debut album, Solo Star, was coming out at around the exact same time they were gonna start filming, and obviously she couldn't do both. So Adrienne was then like, oh, How about my old bandmate Keely? Adrian and Keely came from the same girl group 3LW, which was an R&B group that was doing very well at the time. The songs were excellent. The drama and antics within this group is its own separate thing too, because it was equally, if not more, chaotic, but we don't really have time for that right now. I do need to take a minute to talk about how good this group was. I love R&B excellence. The hits they had in my house, and that includes a 2000s club masterpiece, I Do. Adrian did an appearance on one of my favorite podcasts, We Said What We Said, and on it she said that she too really likes this song, so this is proof that I have taste. I think I'm single-handedly bringing that song thousands of streams every single year. They should be thanking me. Diddy writing and producing the song is information I choose to exclude from my memory, just for my own sanity. Anyways, Keely joins the movie, and now the Cheetah Girls are a thing, and it's time to make the movie. October 2002, they start working on the movie, from rehearsing lines to learning choreo and even making songs. They made 4 songs for the soundtrack: Cheetah Sisters, Cinderella, Girl Power, and Together We Can. And these songs, they're so good. We're going to talk about them later. All the girls were really excited to start working on the movie, while Adrian felt a little iffy about it. She said on the We Said What We Said podcast that she thought the movie would ruin her career because it was too girly and youthful. Remember, she came from 3LW that was now on their second era with a new sexy sound, so she was sure she would flop after doing this movie. But the girls all had a good time creating the movie, and they all became friends because they were spending so much time together in the studio and on set. Raven and Adrian were really close. Specifically, they were attached at the hip like all the time. When it came to making the actual songs for the movie, Deborah had to convince Disney for them to release the soundtrack along with the movie itself, and Disney wasn't really with it because they had never done anything like this before. And Deborah said, "Guys, trust me, this will be a good idea." And it was. August 12, 2003, the Cheetah Girls soundtrack was released 3 days before the movie came out, so timing-wise, this was perfect. The album did way better than anyone thought it would. It ended up reaching 33 on the Billboard 200, and it went 2 times platinum. For a made-up Disney group, this was insane. The songs here are 10 out of 10s. They knew they had hits on their hands. Something spiritual always happens to me every time I listen to Cinderella. Okay, let's talk about the movie now. I don't think I need to give a whole synopsis on what the movie was about. Y'all know it already, and if you don't, what are you still doing here? Go watch it. This movie was super successful for Disney. The kids loved the songs, but also the characters as well. It broke so many records. It premiered with 6.5 million viewers. These kinds of numbers were never done for a DCOM up to this point. This movie was every little girl's dream. We all wanted to be Cheetah Girls. Me and my friends at recess would constantly fight over who got to be which Cheetah Girl because they were always trying to take Aqua away from me. Yeah, Heather, I'm talking to you. This movie really changed the game in mainstream media just from how diverse this cast was. Disney had never had an ensemble full of different races and ethnicities, and it reached all kinds of demographics, so they changed the culture here. It was beautiful to see. So because this was a popular phenomenon, it ended up spearheading the direction Disney would take when it came to doing musical projects for the rest of the decade. So the Cheetah Girls literally changed lives here. Who knows where we would be if this movie never came out? So because the movie and the soundtrack were crazy successful, the Disney executives were like, we've kind of got a hit here, let's make them into a real group. So they completely tossed the idea of this only being a Disney movie. They wanted multiple movies, albums, singles, tours, and even a potential spin-off show on ABC. The merch was also insane here. They had Cheetah Girls toys, bedding, dolls, video games. So Disney was making a lot of money. The plan was to make this a full-fledged group outside of just Disney and to try to make actual impact within the music industry. But this was going to be a little hard because Raven wasn't trying to do all that. Raven was the glue to the group and was a big reason as to why this movie was so successful because kids already loved her. This was mainly because she already had her own show on Disney, That's So Raven, which premiered in January 2003, 6 months before the actual movie came out. I also don't need to explain to you how big this show was. She was carrying Disney on her back with a hit show and fashion-forward fits. She was that girl. Raven and Adrian were still super close, and Adrian even did a couple of episodes in season 2 as the character Alana. That's So Raven was the highest rated show on the network, beating everything else in ratings, and it made it extra special because it was led by a black girl. She made history here. So kids already knew and loved her, so when she showed up in the Cheetah Girls, it was already going to be successful. But no one expected for the movie and album to do what it did. When Raven joined, she thought she was just doing a cute little movie for the girls, not a chart-topping girl group. Remember when I said that there was going to be a potential TV show on ABC for the Cheetah Girls? Yeah, that never happened because Raven was super wrapped up with That's So Raven and all the other projects she was doing, and she didn't sign on to do anything else with the Cheetah Girls. So the show never ended up happening, and this could have started the divide between Raven versus Adrian, Keely, and Sabrina. So the movie wrapped and everyone kind of went their separate ways for 2 years. Raven did more seasons of That's So Raven. Keely and Adrian went back to 3LW to do another album with a brand new member because the old one got kicked out. Again, we don't have time for that right now. Just know it was bad. But the album never came out and 3LW ended up disbanding, another girl group down the drain. So Adrian and Keely now had more time on their hands and Disney was ready to start the Cheetah frenzy up again, but they wanted to do it a little differently this time. Disney now wanted to test them as an actual girl group just to see how the people liked them. In 2004, the girls released their first single, I Won't Say I'm in Love, which was a cover from the Hercules movie for the CD Disney Mania 3. And I was obsessed with these CDs. I would collect them like infinity rings. My personal favorite one was the Radio Disney Jams 11 CD because the track list was so good. My family was tired of me playing Crush by David Archuleta over and over and over again, but I just couldn't get enough of it. October 2005, the girls dropped their first album, Cheetahicious Christmas. Why they wanted their first album to be a Christmas one? I don't know. Their team clearly wanted them to flop, and it did because it only peaked at 74. But they got 5 cool points from me because I really liked the album title. So they released singles, music videos, and even did a tour to make it an actual era for them, but they did all of this without Raven. So people obviously noticed that she was nowhere to be found, and when she was asked, she said, I came to the Cheetah Girls as an actress who just happens to sing. So it was looking a little messy because Raven clearly wasn't trying to be a Cheetah Girl. She was just in the Cheetah Girls. So the girls literally go on a whole tour without her with completely sold out shows. I find this tour so interesting because Ali and AJ and the Jonas Brothers opened for them. They really had all the Disney singing kids doing stuff together. What fun. The girls spent a lot of time together doing the tour and in rehearsal, so automatically they became super close because of this. 3 years after this, in 2006, is when the Cheetah Girls 2 movie comes out. And by now, Disney was fully into the musical project thing. The first High School Musical movie dropped in January 2006, and Hannah Montana premiered in March 2 months after. And these were huge successes. High School Musical did 7.7 million viewers first day, and Hannah Montana was the new flagship show for the network. So Cheetah Girls 2 needed to be a smash success. The pressure was on, guys. This one had to be bigger and better, so the girls packed up their bags because this one was in Spain. The budget was higher, the outfits were better, and the music, don't even talk to me. We need to discuss the soundtrack and performances because me in my 20s feels the same level of passion and excitement about it as 5-year-old me did. Let's just look at the material. There was The Party's Just Begun.
Crank the music, now's the time. All of us are here tonight.
This is how you start a movie, people. I still know the choreography to this song. It will never leave my body. And this part right here, I play it every time.
Celebrate the day you've waited for. Party like you're ready for so much more.
I just don't know what to say anymore. A very close second favorite will always be Strut.
You gotta strut like you mean it. Free your mind.
There's nothing to not stand here. The outfits were 10 out of 10s. They're frolicking through the streets of Barcelona, and the choreo is tight. What other Disney franchise carried like this? Quickly! But I think people who truly appreciate music excellence have Dance With Me in their top 5. It's such a sexy song. It makes me want to drink sangria by the beach. Thank you, Drew Seeley, for your service, aka the background king for Disney. Yes, Drew not only gave us this masterpiece, he also sang the lead vocals for Zac Efron in the first High School Musical movie, which is absolutely hilarious because it is very obvious.
Why am I feeling so wrong? My head's in the game, but my heart's in the song.
Honestly, the entire track list to this movie should be a Grammy-winning album. Where are the awards? So when the time for filming the movie came, it was a little chaotic. The girls were low-key fighting. It was 3 years since the first movie, and there were a lot of changes in the dynamic of the group. Adrian, Keely, and Sabrina were super close because they spent so much time together touring, recording, and doing promotion as the Cheetah Girls. And Raven didn't, so there was clearly a divide there. Also, keep in mind that Raven was low-key sorta kinda responsible for the Cheetah Girls TV show never happening. So now it was kind of bad because Raven was brought onto the Cheetah Girls movie as an executive producer. So that would make them the girls' boss. Ooh. And the girls were not having this, so there were some issues on set, but the girls are professionals, so they just did what they had to do. But let's pause on that for a quick second and talk about the movie. August 25th, 2006, the movie premieres, and it was a huge success.
Everybody excited to see the Cheetah Girls?
Well, Keely, Sabrina, Adrian, and Raven are gonna be here any minute. We've also got tons of Disney Channel stars in the house tonight to get the party started.
And this place is jam-packed with Disney Channel stars. What's that? Oh my gosh, Corbin, they're already here. Corbin, I just received word that our guests of honor are pulling out to the Cheetah carpet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Cheetah Girls have arrived.
It dropped with 8.1 million viewers, beating High School Musical, and broke the record again for the highest rated DCOM. You couldn't tell my girls anything. And the album too goes number 5 on the charts, later going platinum. What do you want me to say here? Everything here went great, so after this, the girls go on their second tour, the Party's Just Begun tour. And it was massive. We're talking arenas, background dancers, high budget lighting, and pyrotechnics, and it completely sold out. The Cheetah Girls were wildly popular at this time. They were low-key the new it girls. All this was kind of a test for Disney to see how their musical acts could perform at a mainstream level, and clearly it worked because the tour was a success. But again, Raven was nowhere to be found, and the PR answer was that she was just acting in the Cheetah Girls movies, but not a part of the actual girl group. Raven never said too much about it besides saying that they were all young women working together, which can create tension at times. But no one really bought this answer because something clearly really bad happened, because after this second movie wrapped, Raven dropped out of the entire Cheetah Girls franchise altogether. And this ruined many little girls' lives, including mine, because she was pretty much the main reason that we watched the Cheetah Girls. It's not a drag, just an observation. And even though we don't know exactly what happened on set, Raven later said on The View that hands were almost thrown.
We've known each other for a very long time.
A very long time.
That's why I can call you Mama.
Yes, you can. I love it.
She played my mother on the Cheetah Girls 1 and 2. And if it wasn't for her...
Barcelona.
Oh, Barcelona. If it wasn't for her, y'all would have had to bail me out of jail in Barcelona.
Stop it.
But we're not gonna talk about it. Okay.
And rumors started swirling that she was most likely talking about Keely, so it was real bad. September 2007, the girls dropped their second album, TCG. This was their first real album without any covers, and it also wasn't a soundtrack for any of the movies, so they wanted to go for a more mature sound without shaking the table too much. I don't personally remember this album ever coming out, but what I do remember is seeing the Fuego music video on Disney Channel for the first time. This sent me into a spiral as a kid. I downloaded this song and listened to it multiple times a day, and I studied the music video religiously. That's how much I loved it. And to this day, I still need to hear it at a party. On their MySpace page, they said that this song was a party anthem with Latin influences. And yet the clubs I frequent refuse to play it. I need DJs to step up. Oh wait. I love the way my mind works sometimes. Anyways, the album flopped because playing the music video during commercials on Disney isn't enough. It was also at this time that the Pussycat Dolls were super big in sex appeal, and compared to them, the Cheetah Girls looked super tame and very tween friendly, and they sang songs about girlhood and friendship. So massive commercial success for the Cheetah Girls was automatically just gonna be way harder. And critics did not like this album. They said it sounded very safe and generic and sounded like Disney song rejects. 2006. We're now in early 2008 and Raven is completely gone from all things Cheetah Girls, so Disney decided to go on without her by starting up the third movie, Cheetah Girls One World. I'm not going to spend a long time talking about the movie. It was set in India. That's all you really need to know. I'm not saying it was bad because Raven wasn't there. All I'm saying is that there seems to be a pattern here. The girls were now in their mid-20s, so the childish branding wasn't gonna work this time around. At this time, Adrian started dating Rob Kardashian and their relationship was all over Keeping Up with the Kardashians and the blogs, so she was kind of becoming a little reality TV star. She even said in an interview that she would sometimes bring Kylie and Kendall with her to Disney events.
The last year that I did Disney Channel games, I was dating Rob Kardashian at the time, and I brought Kendall and Kylie with me. Like, I actually was like, I asked Chris, I'm like, Chris, can I bring the girls like so that they could like enjoy like Disney Channel games? And I got to bring them with me and we ended up doing Disney together.
Her and Rob's relationship was actually a really big storyline for that season of the show, and it was all about her leaving for 3 months to go to India to shoot for TCG3. So August 2008 comes and Cheetah Girls One World is released, and I don't have that much to say about it.
Should I call Kevin 347 now? Because it's night back home. Or should I wait until tonight, which is yesterday? Honestly, why are you even wasting your time? Phone relationships are doomed.
It didn't do as well as the last two movies. There was a pretty significant drop in viewership, but it was decent enough numbers-wise for them to go on another tour for it. So they go on the One World tour, and in the final month of the tour, Adrian's laptop was stolen at JFK Airport. And she needed it back ASAP because there were some tasteful but explicit photos of her on there that was only meant for her man to see. She offered a $1,000 reward for its return, and she got it back without getting the ID of the alleged thief that took it. Ma'am, I don't think you wanted justice. So she gets the laptop back, but it was too late. The pictures leaked everywhere online, and this was a huge story because she was a star on the #1 children's network. Very scandalous. This was during a time when a lot of female celebrities' intimate photos were getting stolen and leaked online, and Adrian was just the next victim.
Oh, I was there at MTV the day because you lost your laptop, right?
Yes.
I was at MTV and you came in all pissed off because it was at the airport or something?
Definitely crying.
So then there's pictures of you on your laptop.
Yes.
And then you leave your laptop where?
No, it actually got lost at JFK. Thank God somebody actually returned it to us.
But by then the pictures had been...
Honestly,
No,
we
he
don't
went
know.
through it.
No,
The guy went through it.
Honestly, we don't. I can't say that for sure. We really don't know. Like, I've spent a handful of money figuring this situation out.
We never found out who actually leaked the pictures, but what makes it interesting is that her publicist at the time, Jonathan Jackson, said Adrian leaked it herself. What do you mean she leaked it herself? Yes, according to him, Adrian allegedly wanted to be seen in a more mature image since the Cheetah Girls was coming to a close, and she wanted to work on her next move on becoming a bigger star outside of Disney since she was now the grown age of 25. And at this time, she was also about to sign a solo deal with Columbia Records, so a sexier image was definitely needed. So he claimed that Nudegate was all a ruse to make this happen. Him and Adrian allegedly got together to make this plan of getting her laptop stolen, but it ended up flopping because the pictures were never supposed to be leaked online. So Adrian blamed Jonathan for the whole thing and said that he was the one behind it, and Jonathan was not gonna go down by himself. So he goes to Disney with receipts proving that Adrian was in on everything, and Disney believed him because the math was indeed mathing. This literally ruined everything because Adrian got released from her contract with Disney, and the Cheetah Girls were supposed to do a performance at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, but they were kicked off of it. So it was really bad. So after this, the girls finished their tour and the Cheetah Girls officially disbanded. Years go by and all the girls go on different paths. Adrian and Raven hosted talk shows, Sabrina did Dancing with the Stars, and Keely did this.
Last I remember, I was face down, ass up, clothes off, broke off.
This scarred me as a child, and it still has the same effect on me. By 2017, almost 10 years later, Adrian and Keely seem to be on bad terms now because Adrian bought Notori Naughton onto The Real for a chat. Key info here is that Notori was a key member of 3LW and left because she was mistreated by Keely and her sister, who was the group's manager. The whole thing is actually way more sinister than how I'm describing it, but That's the overall gist of it. So Adrian brought her onto the show and they ended up having a little heart-to-heart.
And I thank God for the time that I got to actually talk to you. A few years back, we had seen each other at an Us Weekly party.
I remember that. It was
See?
like,
Years ago.
Years ago, yeah.
And we sat down and we talked everything out, and I was able to apologize to you if ever, you know, there was a lot that went on in that time that now looking back is just like, we were so young and it was crazy.
Yeah.
And that I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, never meant any harm towards you.
Thank
that
you.
I think you're talented and beautiful.
Keely's sister was not having this. She went on a Twitter spiral going off on Notori and Adrian and said that Adrian made the Cheetah Girls end with her naked pictures. Just messy. 3 years later, Keely spoke her piece on everything by doing an Instagram live with a little Q&A from fans.
What happened in Barcelona? Nothing happened in Barcelona. We had a lot of fun. I drank a lot of kava.
Yeah. I don't really know what to say about that. Sometime after this, Raven does her own Instagram live and Keely requests to join it, and they sorta kinda let go of their beef, so they were all good now. So Raven took that opportunity to try to get Keely and Adrian to make up again, and Keely was like, absolutely not.
I'm not the only one.
What are you saying?
You gotta talk to Adrian, dude.
Why do I have to talk to Adrian? Tell
Because
me
you're
why.
the firecracker.
No, she didn't come to my dad's funeral or call me when he died. No. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to be messy, but I'm being for real with you. No.
From 2021 to 2023, there were lots of articles and buzz because it was about to be the 10-year anniversary of the Cheetah Girls. So the people were asking if a reboot would ever happen again, and the answer was no. Not only had the girls had completely separate lives by them, most of them weren't even on speaking terms. On the real, Adrian spoke about an old friend that she had had since she was a kid and how she was a little suspicious.
A best friend for a really long time, one of my childhood best friends, and we're no longer friends.
Of course.
And it's sad because my mom would always tell me, be careful, Adrian. I'm telling you, there's something there. She's jealous of you, and there's something there. And I would be like, no, Ma, she loves, and like weird things happen, rumors would get spread, and you'd be like, where did this come from? And it would always somehow get back to her.
Adrian and Raven, on the other hand, were really good friends at this time, always reminiscing on old Cheetah Girls memories on TV. So clearly that anecdote was not about Raven. So people put 2 and 2 together and figured out that she was most likely talking about Keely. Rumors of Keely being a mean girl circulated since the 3LW days, so this just added to that. Adrian and Raven would always be asked in interviews about a possible Cheetah Girls reboot in the future, and somehow they would never mention Keely.
It would be an amazing Bubbles and Choo-Chi show. Like
I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, Bubbles and Choo-Chi forever. We're down.
Always with her.
So the potential Cheetah Girls reboot never happened, and Adrian and Raven still seem to be cool, with Keely and Sabrina being closer to each other. All the girls are now married, and they all seem to live relatively good lives, and they will forever be cemented in Disney royalty for kicking off the golden age for Disney. And that is the end of the long 20-year feud between the Cheetah Girls. This was actually very fun for me to do. I felt like I could talk about them for another 3 hours. I was thoroughly entertained. If you like this video, you should also watch my video on the drama between the Jonas Brothers and the Disney It Girls, Miley, Selena, and Demi. Now that was a wild time. I really want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. I promise I'll be back, guys. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah. Bye.